here's a photograph on Twitter from the U.S. Office of Palestinian Affairs, because as you know, the Palestinians don't deserve their own state, and there's no U.S. embassy, but you can guarantee a U.S. embassy moved to Jerusalem in violation of multiple UN Security Council resolutions and all that good stuff. It's the so again, this is Easter for the Orthodox Christians, right? So they're saying Ambassador Rashad Hussein and Special Representative Hadi Amr attended the Holy Fire at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem on Holy Saturday before Orthodox Easter, which is an important celebration for Orthodox Christians around the world and an example of Jerusalem's religious diversity, right? Now, that looks very nice and all. The thing that they forgot to tell you is that right outside the door, you got the Israelis, thrashing and beating and busting people's skulls. Dude, yo, she embarrassed you, man. This guy is, look at him, just like falling over with his M16. Pathetic, man. This woman owned you. You call yourself what is this? They're border police, right? Supposedly from the color. It's just, smashing Palestinian skulls. It's a regular Easter tradition, huh? So let me break this down for you guys. This Church of the Holy Sepulchre, it's located in Jerusalem. Yes. Now, it's in the Old City. And the Old City in Jerusalem is divided up into 4 quarters. You have a Jewish quarter, Muslim quarter, a Christian quarter, and an Armenian quarter, right? There's also Greek and so on. But the thing is, the Israelis tried to limit the number of people who attend this very important Orthodox tradition. And usually you have about 10,000 people, if I'm not mistaken. But they tried to limit it to 1,200 instead, right? So The Guardian did a piece on this. This is the title: Access to Orthodox Easter Ceremony in Jerusalem limited over security concerns. Right? They were so concerned over people's security that they started bashing their skulls in with their batons. Right? Just what you do when you love someone. So the Holy Fire Rite has traditionally attracted about 10,000 Christian worshippers, but numbers have been limited in recent years. So like they're saying, in the past, you'd have 10,000 people who would fill the church, but the Israelis only want 1,800. And they impose this. It's not up to debate. It's not up for debate. And the thing is, this church is located in the Old City, right? I was just telling you. And the Old City is in East Jerusalem. So even if you are, you support Israel, the international law is very clear, right? That Jerusalem is a corpus separatum, so it's a separate body. It does not belong to anyone because it has such value and spiritual value for Christians, Muslims, Jews, that the UN, when they're doing this colonial partition plan, said, well, okay, at least Jerusalem is going to be a special city. I don't think there's many like it anywhere, if any. And so it would have a special legal status that it would not belong to anybody. It would just be like an international, interreligious city, right? As it is. It definitely is, religiously speaking. There's no question about that. But the Israelis, they invaded it in 1967, and then they annexed it illegally. The invasion was also illegal, but they annexed it along with the Syrian Golan Heights, which they also took in 67. So both of these Jerusalem and the Syrian Golan Heights. The Israelis annexed them in 1980 and 81, right? And so, you know, the UN Security Council, which remember includes the Americans, they have a permanent seat on there, right? So it's about 15 members, and it rotates, but there are 5 permanent seats. The victors of World War II: China, Russia, the UK, France, and the US. I'm not sure what France is doing there, but okay. So, je déconne. The thing is, the Americans, even at the time, were like, and you know, the Americans, you know, they're the ones backing Israel. Even the Americans had to put their foot down, and they were like, yo, you guys need to leave. You can't stay there. And they either voted in favor of or abstained in the UN Security Council resolutions like 242, number 242, where the United Nations is saying Israel must withdraw. And of course, they played with the language in there, the British, but nevertheless, it's quite clear. And after Israel annexed Jerusalem, it was also very clear, the language, that, you know, this is the United Nations does not recognize this, and whatever annexation you have going on is null and void. It's that exact quote, null and void. So the Israelis have invaded the city, and no matter how you look at it, even if you accept the partition plan, East Jerusalem is not part of Israel, or occupied Palestine, as we should say. But you know, under international law, there's no way you can justify this, and of course includes a whole slew of issues like Sheikh Jarrah, when they're trying to evict people from Sheikh Jarrah, which is a neighborhood in Palestine. Under what jurisdiction? You have no jurisdiction on this soil, on this planet. You have none, zero. So it's occupation, and I find it, you know, it's quite the record for the Israelis. I'm sure it's not the first time, but perhaps we should all give them a round of applause that they've managed to beat Muslim worshippers in Al-Aqsa Mosque, and in the same breath beat Christian worshippers in front of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Well done. Well done. I hope you're proud of yourselves. What an accomplishment. Yes, you've really shown yourselves to be a true democracy. Yes. Remember, Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East where you get nice things like beating up Christian worshippers during Easter. And of course, limiting how many can go in the church, which is the first infringement. Yes. Let's take a look at that again. I don't know what they think they're doing, but it's insane. Sorry, man. He gave up. He gave up. It's like, damn it. I'm not even going to bother chasing here. Forget it. I'm going to turn around and pretend this didn't happen. Look, man, everybody trips up. I'm going to pick on him too much. I mean, I'm more concerned with the fact that he's an Israeli occupier rather than, you know, being thrown to the floor by a woman. It reminds me of that time the Israelis tried to board the flotillas. You know, people would they would dare to put a bunch of food and medicine together and sail it off to Gaza. The crime. Oh my God, what a calamity. They're such terrorists. Hang them all. And so the Israelis would just go and they would board these ships and just detain everybody, you know, and confiscate it, because they have a blockade on Gaza. And shamefully, so does Egypt. That's shameful. But there's some footage. I don't. You tell me when this was. They did this multiple times. I remember seeing it when I was younger. When I was younger, like I'm 80 or something, when I was a child, I saw this on TV, how the Israelis had filmed with their infrared camera on board the helicopter. They were filming the ship as it was being boarded, right, by their commandos. And somebody on this flotilla, obviously a civilian, right, because they're all civilians, just like grabs this Israeli soldier and like throws him overboard. It's so funny. I'm sorry, but that is just hilarious. And so, you know, in that spirit, this gallant woman reminded me of whoever that was. But yeah, I find this really funny. You know, they try to like do a snow job about it and say, oh, look, you know, Israel is doing such a great job as a custodian. It's not a custodian, man. They have stolen Jerusalem. They're not allowed to annex it. It's just, you know, I don't make these laws, man. I don't make the laws. That's what the UN says. And they've said it multiple times. It's very clear. So, you know, if you care about all this international law in Ukraine, which I guess you do because you won't shut up about it, and how bad Russia is. And like, all of a sudden these British politicians and Americans, they suddenly know the words, illegal annexation and territorial sovereignty and integrity. Wow. Well done. You've caught up finally. They want to give lectures all the time. I mean, sorry, but when do you start in your own backyard? Let's take care of this illegal annexation of the Golan Heights of Jerusalem. When since America's funding it and Britain started it, before telling off the Russians, maybe we should look in the mirror, perhaps. Just a word of advice. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this installment of Israel's respect for other religions, and well done, beating up Muslims, beating up Christians at the same time during Ramadan and during Easter. What an accomplishment! Wow, such a democracy.